Good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast. We are getting started. Highlander is already in the YouTube, so let's get him over on X doing the moderator jobs. And let's see what else is going on. Let's go to invites. Go to invite co-hosts. We'll do Highlander. And of course, for some reason, it doesn't want to invite him unless he's already in the room. Anders is here. Excellent. Good to see you, Anders. Highlander invite. There we go. And go back to the main screen. And then we will do this one here. We're going to copy this link. We're going to go on over to. I have some stuff in the notebook today, too. We're going to go on over to. There's Highlander. Let's
mic check, please.
There you are. Bump you up to the top of the room. You're outdoors. You hear the chirping birds. Let's go to what application do I want? Email and messages. I need to clean my glasses better. Or the application's not running. No, it's running right there, right in front of me. There. And then we'll go to write a quick email, new BCC. All right, now we will send. And we're in business. All right, so let me pull up the notebook. Anders says is on YouTube and on X. There we go. That's good. Thank you. Good to see you, Timothy. I need to react to your messages. I didn't open them yet because I keep going through the studio rather than staying at the studio. Which reminds me, I need to open the studio. Let's go open a new window. Do I need a new window? I think I made a tab for it. I do, but the tabs have shuffled, of course. This might be the right window. It is the right window. So we're going to click there for the studio. Everything opened at the middle of my monitor and the laptop. But Apple doesn't actually stretch across screens with applications, at least not out of the box. We'll go to content, and we'll go to live, and we'll edit to make sure that the settings are set straight. Interesting. It's not set straight, so we're going to set this as a live stream. A couple of them aren't set straight. The live stream is way down. So let's search for others. Is it the whole scroll down? No, it's at the top. I don't know. And we're going to say this is not an AI video. And we will save. Then we'll go to customization and chat is set up correctly. So we're going to go back and back one more. And we're going to go to the broadcast studio. And it says excellent connection. So that's always good. How is everyone doing today? We're looking at almost 100 degrees Fred, as Mark calls it. 100 degrees Fahrenheit. No rain in sight, but that's okay. Let me pull up the notebook. There's actually stuff in it today. So if I find my mouse, come. There you are. I'll get those smacking my mouse in hand, which creates issues, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Because then I click on the wrong stuff. Yeah. Let's see what this is. I'm on the outside of the screen. Did you poop again? I just cleaned you. Hi, Moto.
Daddy, why I need minimal underwear?
It doesn't have to be Minnie Mouse. You can be whatever underwear you want.
Supermarket have minimal underwear?
Some supermarkets, yeah.
I see last night from the shelf and from a code and from why green?
Why is it green? So they can replace the color easily. They used to do blue. I don't know why they switched to green. Maybe green's easier. Maybe blue's more expensive. I couldn't begin to tell you.
Why gray and green?
Gray? What gray? Highlander says 88 Fahrenheit at the marina. Awesome. All right. Long road. I don't know what happened to kick Highlander out. Let's bring him back so he can do the moderation and check everybody out. How you doing today, Long Road? Let's check out your profile real quick. Right. What? Oh no! Where's your? How are you always throwing the towel on the floor? Oh, you're sitting on it. Okay, let's take a better towel. There we go. We are medicated now. We've got a notebook open. We've got a couple topics to discuss today. Let's start with a couple of recalls. I think they're both the same thing. Two different manufacturers. But let's get our recalls out of the way so we can talk about fun stuff today. And I need to open another new tab so that it's on the screen in front of you guys. So not new tab, a new window. There we are. And then let's stagger them in such a way that I can see if you guys are commenting while I'm doing this. There we go. And let's click on the first link. Is a recall from Ford. And then they are not the same thing. They are in the same region. All right, so there's the Ford recall, and then there's a Tesla recall. Where did it go? Oh, that's helpful. Looks like my phone didn't send it to the notebook. So let's go here to the phone's copy of the notebook and refresh. And there it is. And where is it on the screen? Let's do a sync. This is way over here. File, sync this notebook. And there it is. Okay, so then we'll, bless you. Bless you. And then we'll load up the Tesla recall. And then we'll talk about them, and then we'll go on to the fun stuff. Because there is fun stuff. All right. There is the first one. There's the second one. And let's get started. Okay, yep. And then the audio is working on YouTube and the video platforms. All right, so let's go back into X to make sure the thing doesn't drop us all. And yeah, I'm live. If I join our live video on X, then our audio will have a problem. So let's not do that. All right, and those fingers taste good? No? Those are your fingers. What's up, Highlander?
1 week it'll let me switch between platforms, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
The next week it'll drop me out of X when I switch over, and it's no rhyme, no reason.
Yeah. Eventually they'll have a team back on Spaces, and it'll all be good at that point. Until then, all right. So let's do share screen. And these are just EV recalls this week. I didn't see any doesn't mean there aren't any, but I didn't see any for the mass combustion cars that were worthy of talking about.
This is the first I'm hearing about the recall, and I'm in touch as anybody.
Right. All right, let's share, and then I need to adjust the format so that it looks okay. There, and now back to the content. Yes, Mike. Yes, you about to throw up? You need a towel? Here you go. I think she's teething. She won't use any of the teething toys, but she's drooling and her hands are always in her mouth, and she's chewing on stuff that's nothing to chew on. Okay, so Ford has recalled about 200,000 Mustang Mach-E's due to a faulty door latch that could trap passengers, they say. Let's see. Ford is recalling nearly 200,000 Mustangs because the door latches could falter, potentially trapping passengers in the back seat. I've always been an advocate for backseat egress, which has been fun with my vehicles of choice because they don't have normal latches. The NHTSA said that Dearborn-based Ford is recalling 197,432 Mustang Mach-E midsize SUVs model year 2021 through 2025. So all of them.
Wow.
But not every vehicle. So let's see what the deal is with this, because they've sold more than 200,000 Mach-E's, I believe. The NHTSA sent letters notifying owners of the safety risk. Were scheduled to be sent out on June 23rd. So actually, this is the first time we were hearing about one after the letters were supposed to have been sent, rather than like weeks before. So either they've gotten better at this, or this news took a long time to get out. Ford dealerships will fix the problem by updating the vehicle software, which will remedy with the remedy expected to be available by late September. That is terrible. It's a software update, which means that it should be an OTA software update. It's not. It's a bring it into the dealer software update, and it's not going to be ready for months on end. We're here at the end of June, and they say September, so we're looking probably the end of September rather than the beginning of September when you look at how these announcements are made for a software update.
Don't let anybody ride in the back seat. That's what I just heard. I mean,
don't let anybody ride in the back seat and crash or catch fire. Or, or end in water.
Don't come visit me at the marina right now. Well, the boat launch.
Right?
Forget it. You got to be specific. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
stay away.
I guess if it's low impact enough that they could crawl across the front seats, then it's still fun. Let's see what they say. The government agency that regulates the automobile safety said that the electronic door latches may remain locked after a driver or front passenger exit the vehicle and shuts the door, potentially trapping a child or other passenger who's unable to use the interior door releases. Interesting. So the overrides stop working when that is bad software. The override should always work, even if somebody was like camped out in the car, which is not good if somebody's camped out in your car. But say you have a distracted morning or afternoon and end up with a little person stuck in the car, they should be able to unlatch the door for anybody who can unbuckle them, or if they can unbuckle themselves, they should be able to just get out of the car if you've left them in there.
My last minivan did that.
Yeah.
I locked my keys in at the campground. It's a campground of all places.
Yeah.
Because once I got out, it locked itself. And then I found there was a way to change the setting. But I didn't have the cell phone didn't work, and most of them don't work at parks. They put on little jammers. There I was. I couldn't get into my van.
Wow. Yeah, thankfully locksmiths are still skilled in this sort of thing, but I mean, if it's a case that someone's trapped, that's not good. The NHTSA said the letters will be mailed out in June. Owners may contact Ford customer service at 866-436-7332. Ford's number for the recall is 25. Is that 5 again? 25565. Owners may also contact the NHTSA or National Highway Safety Administration vehicle safety hotline at 888-327-4326. They have a TTY number there as well, but if you're hearing me audibly, I won't need that number. However, if you're reading my transcripts, 888-275-9171 or nhtsa.gov. So, that's interesting that they need a software update for the latches, but they're going to require you to bring it in. That's maybe Ford needs to have a little chat with Rivian and Tesla as well, just like VW did. It won't hurt you. Let's see. Let's go to our second recall, which is from Tesla. It's also a bring it in recall, but not because of software. It's a bring it in recall because you have a physical hardware component that needs to be changed out. It is seatbelts. So historically, Tesla has just come out to you with seatbelts or on heavy travel days like Memorial Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas. They'll often have technicians at the superchargers doing the repairs. So let's see what they say about this one. This is for some Model 3 and Model Y vehicles over seat fasteners. Wait a minute, though. Going back to the Ford real quick. So do they only have 200,000 Mach-E's out? Because if it's a software update and it's bring it into the dealer software update, that sounds like the fleet, doesn't it? Am I using faulty logic with that? Anyone?
It's a little confusing that way, isn't it?
Yeah. Because if it's software, it should be on all the cars, unless it's like, only the base model or only the GT or something. Because they went back to all the years the car was out. I thought they had more than 200 grand on the streets. I see them all day, every day. Yeah,
it's popular little EV, that's for sure.
it is. It's outselling the classic Mustang, the combustion one with the 2 doors. Or at least it had at one point when I looked at it, which was cool to see.
Not to get too far off topic, but there's one of the Dodge electric trucks behind me.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's true.
Yeah, first time I've ever seen one.
The van based on the Fiat Ducato?
The e-torque Ram 150 e-torque.
Wow. I didn't realize they were on the streets already.
Yeah.
Cool.
I could always walk over there and take a picture, but then I'd lose my spot here.
No, don't lose your spot. Don't lose your spot. So the next question is, when does the e-Rev come out, and when does the pure EV come out? Interesting. All right, so Tesla has issued a new voluntary recall for a small batch of Model 3 and Ys due to an issue with the improperly tightened fasteners in the first row seats. The recall impacts only about 48 vehicles. So at this point, with 48 involved, I doubt that they will be stationing technicians at the superchargers. It doesn't mean they won't come out to you with mobile service and fix it, but you will have to follow the procedures to get in touch with them if they don't reach out to you first. So that sounds like either one technician, one robot, or a part of one shift, like maybe like right before.
Yeah, that's right amazing that they even caught it.
Well, it's pretty cool how they do it though. Like as they are building the car, one of the first things to come online is the MCU. Like before they put the doors or the interior in, they put the computer in and turn it on. And as they roll the car down the line, it's actually receiving values from everything as it's going in. So the torque wrench for the seat, the torque wrench for the seatbelt.
The torque specs. Yep.
So it knows the specs, but also, like if for some reason it passes QC and everything, but they later go back and say, this
48 is such a
like this one.
I can see the first 2 failing.
Yeah.
And then you stop the process.
Right.
Or hundreds failing, but what was that, from breakfast to lunch? And the system said, "Oh, wait a minute,
Right. What I'm picturing
48 of them aren't torque tight enough."
exactly. I'm picturing like somebody went off to the restroom and somebody else took the station, and the value was just set wrong. And
exactly.
And for whatever reason,
Well, they caught it. That's the important thing.
Right. And so then I'm picturing somebody catching it and saying, "Oh, this was set wrong," and then they say, "Hey, while this was set wrong, let's query all the cars and see who got this lower torque value," and then the system will ask, and these 48 cars will say, "Yeah, I got that torque spec," and so then they say, "All right, here's the recall for those."
I'd be very curious. I'd be curious because I'm in the middle of well, not in the middle. I'm changing out the front seat, the driver's seat on my Dodge van.
Yeah.
And the bolts are not hard to get to. There's just 4 of them. It's the easy process. But
Mhm.
2 of them, they're not hex heads. They're this weird thing, and they're not cheap. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
It's like a safety type hex, but it's not quite a hex.
Yeah. Interesting.
I wonder what the instructions say on the seat tightening thing. If they even tell you where to go buy it, because
Yeah, they
didn't have it at Harbor Freight. I had to go someplace strange to get it.
Oh wow. I do absolutely love the Tesla service manuals. They are phenomenal. You might not be able to buy the part, but you'll know exactly how to do the procedure. They've got photos. They've got the torque specs. They've got Honda was pretty good about this too. They tell you what, and GM as well, about what you got to throw away, what's your one-time use items. But the thing is, with Tesla, your shop manual is free as an individual. As a shop, you will have to pay, and that's fair. But as an independent shop, they've got 2 levels, and so if you only occasionally this is just a regular customer of yours, and it's like your only EV, it's not going to put you out of business to get what you need. I need to get Paul on here. Paul is an independent shop on hybrids and EVs. It won't put you out of business. I mean, it might not be a price that you like, but they've been bringing the price down, and I like that.
Is that the software they call Toolbox?
Toolbox is not free, but yeah, that's Toolbox. I was just talking to the manuals themselves. The manuals are free.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I was talking about the software. I know Pete Gruber mentions it, and they'll just send the entire laptop, so everything out to the customer because it might be in Dubai or someplace.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And so with Toolbox, is another awesome thing. Everybody's got their various software tools, but I like that with the Toolbox, you don't need an interface box in between your laptop and the car. But back to the recall, the car is going through and it's receiving the torque values from everything. It's watching itself get built, and then if something like this happens, they go back and it makes it easy to ask and do a query, like search the database, say what's going on with this, or if it's something that's specific to the car that's not in the database, they can. If some of your car is still online, they can ask the car, "Hey, is this you?" "Oh yeah, that's me." "All right, come on in." And I like how they don't say, "Oh, this is all the cars built on Thursday, bring them in." No, I need these cars. There have been cases where they've done a mass recall like that, but it's rare lately, which is nice to see. So according to the notice, the issue stems from first row seating that may have been manufactured with improper torque fasteners that attach the seat back to the seat bottom. Oof. That hurts right there. I had that happen to my office chair. Last week before last? 3 weeks ago? This month, I had the seat back of my other office chair. I leaned back just a little bit like this, and it's it felt like I got hit by that truck again. And that's interesting though, because on my Model S, they replaced the lower seats, not the seat back, just the lower part of the seat, and that was fun. They did that because it was rocking a little bit when it hit speed bumps. Apparently, just torquing it down wasn't enough. The instructions said replace the seat, so they did. But back to the recall. I keep going off on these tangents. So the seat back to the seat. So it won't be undrivable, but it won't be comfortable to drive. In some cases, the fasteners may be loose or missing, which could cause a rattle or the seat to detach. Yeah, so tell me the torque value of nut number 7,000 and bolt number 6,000. Car says, not there. It wasn't registered. Oh, you're going to bring it in. Or if it says, 5 Newton meters and it's supposed to be 35 Newton meters. All right, that's another one to come on and bring in. This is a critical safety issue as a seat back that is not properly anchored could detach, leaving the driver or passenger unsupported and increasing the risk of a crash. I don't like that word, accident. According to Tesla's investigation, the issue originated from a production change made for vehicles manufactured between April 3rd and May 7th of 2025. However, not all vehicles built within that date are impacted by the recall. The issue impacts 30 2026 Model Ys and 18 Model 3s across all variants, including rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, and performance for the Model 3. So this sounds like Fremont, right, Highlander? You won't have a Model 3 out of Giga, Texas. It could still be all of them. Like if this is just like if it was like a wave update rollout and like 6 torque wrenches got it wrong or something. I don't know. Thankfully, there have been no related incidents related to the issue to date. Oh, she fell asleep. So sweet. All right. The fix, since this is a physical recall, Tesla will have to inspect impacted vehicles and replace and properly retorque the seat fasteners as needed, free of charge, of course. Yeah, that's how recalls work. Should work. Since this is, you can also check your VIN numbers impacted by using Tesla's recall tool. Well, that's new. Tesla has noted the repair should take approximately 1 hour of work at a service center and up to 2 hours if a mobile ranger addresses the recall. All right, let's do the recall tool. And okay, I think I've done this before. Get a VIN recall search. That's my VIN. All right, I'm opening up the Tessie app, which might have been a mistake if it opens up the wrong browser. Nope, it did the right thing. I guess I can just log into Tesla. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Sneeze. She said. All right, that's not loading correctly. So yeah, let's just log into Tesla and sign in. Really? I was going to get a fingerprint, but it didn't want a fingerprint. It was a whole password. So yeah, we'll do Tesla. Yep, that's right. Your device is blocking access to. I'm not blocking access to Jack. See, it's gray. No, VPN. What do you need me to unblock? One of my servers is actually powered off because it doesn't have any water in it. So I'm not typing that in by hand. Back to this. Okay, let's go. That is our recall segment. All right, let's undo the screen share for now. No, let's not. So now let's start with. So we did 2 recalls. Do we want to do So we talked about Robotaxi last week, and that's been continuing. They've got more invites have gone out, and it's been running smoothly. I haven't seen any headlines, which is, I guess, as good as can be expected. But as they did that, they also did something that Elon's been promising since 2016 about how your car could deliver itself. Well, now it has. Let's move this. Cut. Close. And then, like I said, we'll keep this open. I'll put it over here. Paste and go. Yeah. So here it is, the first autonomous delivery of a Tesla to customers' driveway from Giga Texas. So let's see if I can't. Let's do this. We'll pause it. Mute it. Make it bigger. Mute it again, because Tesla likes to use music. All right. So what we see here is the vehicle is leaving the end of the line, as they all do in Austin and Fremont. They leave the end of the line, and they go to deliver themselves to the transportation area, where it'll go to the particular lane, in the case of Giga Texas, to go and get on the right truck to get delivered to the customer. However, this particular vehicle that we're in, it's, as all of its brethren are, it was completely empty. It had a different destination set than one of the lanes. Let's take a look. Vehicle operating robotaxi software equipped with FSD supervised upon delivery. I was wondering how they were able to do that. So it doesn't have the regular factory software. It has the robotaxi software. All right. So it stops at the light, sign, wait for it to clear, it makes a turn, and there it is. They don't have anybody chasing the car. They don't have anybody doing remote. So instead of turning off right there like all the others will, this one kept going. They don't have any of the remote assistance going. This vehicle is just following the route, the address, instead of being the lane 1, 2, 3, whatever. It was customer's house, and so we can see there's a Cybertruck next to it. They said they didn't have any chase vehicles, but that Cybertruck has got a camera on it, does it not? Sorry about the music. I don't know what I just dropped. Oh, they don't have the frame by frame like YouTube does. That's all right. I got a mouse cursor. So, is that a camera rig? It doesn't negate what they said, but the way they said it was they didn't have a fleet tracking it like they did with the test robotaxis. That could be a guy with some fishing gear or something, but that could also be a camera rig. Interesting. So let's continue. They have a full 30-minute uncut, but oh yeah, it is a camera rig. What are we looking at? We're looking in the window of the robotaxi. Duh. Anyway, the vehicle is continuing to make its way. It got up to 72 miles an hour at one point. It's on the freeway. It's on surface streets, and it's going to the customer's condo or apartment. Well, so they can't say that they weren't there, but they weren't giving it assistance by any means. All right, it's waiting its turn at the light. Gonna go left. There we are. What's amazing is this empty car from the factory gets on the freeway, and a Waymo still won't use the freeway. Obeying the traffic laws. hyperspeed. There's a wait for the pedestrians there. Okay. Yeah. Also, residential streets, avoiding parked cars, etc. Letting its turn. All right. So this fulfills a promise that he's been making, like I said, since 2016. Your car can drive itself anywhere connected by land and roads. All right, well, here it is. Well, there's a Model Y. Probably unrelated one. Hey, there's balloons. I don't know if those balloons are like to welcome new residents or if these people are having a party waiting for their car to arrive. But arrive it does. It pulls up using the robotaxi software, pulls over like it's picking somebody up, and does the pickup mode thing. It shuts down. All right, so they put the actual plate on it. That's interesting. I would have thought they would have put a temp tag on it or nothing at all, depending on Texas law. And then there's a Tesla employee to let him in his car. There's your delivery. So pretty quickly soon, if they continue this and have permission, they will obviously drop a lot of the extra stuff. Just how they go. But that is pretty darn cool. My Harbor 3 car does this every day, except I have to be currently in it with the orange frowny face. Yes, exactly. My Harbor 3 also does quite well. It doesn't always do a good job of parking itself. Yesterday, though, we went to Costco, and it drove us through. It passed a couple spaces that I would have picked. And then it was 100 degrees out. It picked a spot under a tree. And then it, not reversed, but it angled so that way if I hit reverse, I could just hit start park and it would be able to reverse into the spot. So I had a little joke with my wife. I was like, yeah, the car wants to sit in the shade waiting on us. Because there were plenty of open spots that it could have picked. And it picked the one directly under the tree. I rarely pick a spot in the middle. I usually pick a spot near a curb or another Tesla. And it does seem to gather that. And typically when it's suggesting a spot, it suggests a spot that I would pick. But that one I allowed. I was like, yeah, that's cute. You can sit in the shade. And I pushed it and let it roll. Yes, this is huge. Bigger than the iPhone moment, in my honest opinion. I agree. My screen turned off. Let me make sure we're still on the spaces. We are? Good. Yeah, I think this is going to be... This is like a 1-2 punch right here. You've got the robotaxi situation going on, which will help eliminate the need for extra cars, as far as like the second car, third car in the family, and all the maintenance and ownership stuff that's required with that as well. And then you've got this self-delivery, which will eliminate the need for the transport trucks, the diesel, this and that. I don't know how they're going to handle charging if it's outside of the test range, like if they get a permit to operate more broadly. Or maybe it'll just be one more tool in their tool belt. Like, hey, be home at Saturday at 7 because your car will be there. And then 6:59, your car rolls up. This will be interesting. And they'll still obviously need to put them on boats for the international shipping. I don't think people realize what's going on here as far as the ability to make changes in society. This is pretty cool. And it's not just going to be Tesla, but so far Tesla's the only one that operates on the highways completely empty. And definitely the only ones from the factory because, without a dealer network, you don't need to... That's not to say that Ford or somebody couldn't do it. The dealer could sell the car and arrange an appointment and then with Blue Cruise Plus or whatever they're going to call their version of this thing, or FSD, because they could totally license it, your Mustang Mach-E could show up right there at your door as well. They're going to need phone key or the Apple thing, because, well, they don't have to. If you still have key fobs, there's still a way. You can either open it with the app, their app, or dial a number, scan a QR code with your password or order number, something like that. And then they can unlock it, and then the key fobs can be sitting right there. But that's the beauty of the Tesla, is you don't need the key fobs. I'm curious. I don't know if the S and X still come with key fobs. They did for a long time after they switched to the new architecture. But I don't know if they still do. Not having to have a car payment, upkeep, insurance, and whatnot will stun the masses when they realize this, and the amount of money that can be saved will be tremendous. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. I think for us, personal, we would keep the one car, and we might not need any extras. If we bought extras, we would definitely get some for the business and become robotaxi operators ourselves, because if the numbers are there, then why not? If the numbers aren't there, then we would liquidate those cars, or just use them for the family. But we would be the odd case out, and then when it came time to retire them, we just wouldn't replace them if it weren't profitable to run them, and we could just call the robotaxi ourselves, because as the operator, you're still going to do the tires and all the upkeep. So this will be quite fun to watch it unfold. And I kept saying, when people say, "Oh, it's 10 years out, it's 10 years out," there's no way it's 10 years out on the technology, on the hardware. It could be 10 years out on the politicians, but even then, all you got to do is show them how many lives are saved, and make sure that whoever's paying them with lobbying doesn't cloud their judgment, and they would see this. But they have to be able to viscerally see it right in the empty cab, and I am curious how it all plays out once these people realize what's going on. I got into a chat on, I don't know who it was, but MSN brought it to me, and somebody was like, "Well, all of a sudden everybody's gonna start being distracted driving, blah blah blah." I'm like, well, on the cars that are delivered, you can't do that, because you have to be paying attention to the road. And then they said something about what did they go on to? They went about the testing on public roads or whatever. I was like, well, they're not testing. This is a production product right here. You got a taxi service right there, and you got a delivery running on the taxi software. So not a test. And then they went on to, well, it's coming anyway. I'm like, yeah, well, it is. It's definitely coming, but it's not here right now. But it could be very soon, because they're the same hardware, same similar software. I think she's having a bad dream. She's got like a nervous chatter in her foot. Okay, baby. Okay. Yeah, she's sleeping. Okay. I think this is people don't know what's about to happen right here. This is really cool. So let's look at some more about it. Let's go back to let's close the video down and look at the thread. Only 2 comments? Question mark. Mad. Oh. So there's the photo of the delivery. He's got a name tag on. Sweet looking Model Y. All right, so let's click here from Tesla. All right, so there's more delivery photos right here. That's not a name tag. That's a branded shirt. All right, it's a full-on delivery. Not one of the self-guided deliveries. It's at home. There you are. Is that the whole XAI team, or everybody built it at the factory? Mark says, so cool. Congrats all around to the engineers, the new Tesla owner, and to Musk and Tesla shareholders. The future is autonomous. No small crowd. They tagged Silverado for some reason. Absolutely amazing. Another first for Tesla. The autonomous future is truly arrived. Well done. Will the Tesla send that many engineers to each delivery? The answer is no, they won't. Well, the lucky ones. Congratulations. Epic day. I would hate to be a bear in these times. A Tesla delivered itself. The safety passenger had their finger on the button. They had their finger on it, right? No, there was no safety driver. Oh, bears, Tesla bears. Not. I was totally thinking like a bear in the woods, which was not accurate. My Optimus will pull up in a self-driving Cybertruck and walk right up to my door and autonomously. At this point, absolutely, that's what I'm seeing. I never doubted Tesla couldn't do it. Too many negatives there. K10. Joe says historic achieved in a historic week for Tesla today. Congratulations on a remarkable achievement. Wait, does this mean that Jose gets to keep Robotaxi software as his Model Y's FSD version? Question mark. I bet you it's like ephemeral, just like the cars delivering themselves to the lot to get picked up by the trucks. Because even if you don't have FSD, your car is driving itself from the end of line to the loading lot. Full self-delivery could be a feature you guys could sell to other car companies. Absolutely. That's freaking awesome. I might have shed a tear. Not me, but it was really cool. Impressive. You see, that just rocks. Now you're going to say Tesla needs hardware 5 and to be truly unsupervised. I'm going for Teslas and the latest being a 2025 Model Y performance. It can't drive itself unsupervised. I'll be joining the class action suit against Elon and Tesla. Wait and see what they do. Context for the newbies. Tesla claimed the same milestone for nearly 10 years ago. Yes, they did. Guess who the engineer was? Is it you? Because the head of Tesla FSD, so he's alleging. Interesting. But that's not this. So let's continue on. Free self-delivery. I don't know if they're gonna do it for free, but eventually I think that they would, because that frees them up on so much in the logistics area. It literally rolled off the assembly line 25 minutes before he sat in it. That alone might be a world record. Yeah, it's true. Think about all the other cars. Unless you are doing a factory delivery for like a Corvette or something, or factory delivery for the German cars, where you pick it up at the factory, you drive it around, and they put it on a boat back home for you. If they even offer that program anymore, they would be the only ones who could touch this timing of being less than 30 minutes from the factory to the owner for sitting in it ever. That's incredible. Next goal, autonomously deliver every car within 250 miles of the factory. It would easily be hundreds a week. Excuse me. Yeah, if they set it to the point where the thing can have a useful charge when it arrives, so that you can give it the proper charge. Like if they know you have a charger at home, or if they know you're near enough to a supercharger, I can see them doing that. And even if it's a case of, oh, well, we don't operate in thunderstorms or whatever, they could just wait in the existing lots or half of the existing lot for the storm to pass and then go deliver themselves. If they don't do it on a nice, clean, sunshiny day, they won't be clean when they arrive. But that won't be a problem for long, really, because eventually it gets to the point where they're so inexpensive and so convenient that they could be the primary car for the family as well. Just robo-taxiing or whatever. I bet he bought FSD and didn't buy it after the delivery. He bought FSD. If he didn't buy it after the delivery, and he doesn't live at the delivery address for privacy considerations. Yeah, that's a good point, Joel. I don't know. Yeah, they definitely would have done that for a single-family house, and yeah, you're right. He may not actually live at that apartment complex or condo neighborhood. I probably would expect that he bought FSD as part of the package, and if he didn't buy FSD, I bet you he did after that. So that was phenomenal. And he doesn't live at the delivery address for privacy reasons. Yeah, that's something that I was when they first described it, and then they said there's a video. I'm like, this is a weird world. I don't know that I'd want them to put that video out. But then I saw it was at a multifamily dwelling. I was like, okay, that's not as bad. That's not as bad. And they did it to the front door, not to his unit. So. That could go either way, but it doesn't exactly matter if he lived there or not. The fact that it went from the factory to a pickup point, that is really cool. She's like checking on the internet. Is Tesla trying to make that bad Julia Roberts movie come true? That's a good question. Which one? She was in a lot of movies, and it's not ringing a bell on its own. So how will this go down, though? I'm picturing they've done one, and now they're going to want to do more because you don't need a loading lot, you don't need to pay for transportation, and once they're confident in its ability, they don't have to worry about chasing it down with the fleet of engineers or even a delivery specialist. So I would picture, at least until the regulation change, that we might see a handful more of these if the delivery is in the robotaxi zone from the factory. Or maybe 10, 100. I'd be curious to see. All right, next on the same topic, we've got this from Patrick Joe. I'm not sure if it's clear in the video. The white Model Y ahead of the factory is also driverless. It's one of the many. Oh, you guys can't see this because it opened up in the wrong window. Close this. Paste and go. It's also driverless. It is one of the many cars that drive autonomously from the end of the factory line into a parking lot to wait for delivery to customers. Jaguar's car just had a... Oh, sorry, not Jaguar. The guy who bought it. Jose's car just had a slightly different destination from his friends. From 1010 and factory driverless. Oh, that was the We Robot Day, I believe. 1010, and factory driverless to robo taxis and driverless delivery. The Tesla AI team continue to work hard to scale our solution. So Patrick is... What does he do? Scale our solution. We'll follow him and see what's going on later. Full self-drive, 1x speed below. I guess we could open that up and run it in the background while we talk about it. Wes says, please deliver more autonomous. This is cool and all, seriously, but when will my Cybertruck get some actually smart summon? When will my Legacy get some actually smart summon? You guys said it would happen. You haven't even tried. I know that it can run the new software, the same thing that you guys are running as far as like auto park and everything, because it completely changes modes when it goes into auto park now. So does the display. I tracked the route. The route of the first 100% autonomous delivery was 11.8 miles. And see, that's why I'm glad it wasn't a single-family building, because that would have been something else. Okay, so it went from the factory into the... I'm guessing the blue is the zone that they're allowed to operate in for robotaxi. Here are the KML files, path, and service area. It's a little creepy. First 12 miles for half an hour drive is normal. It is in Texas. You saw the speeds it went to. It was keeping up with traffic. The first mile from the factory is a ramp off the factory property is a slow 20 to 25 miles an hour driving. Pick below. That may also how many long red lights along the way. Yeah, and the left turns it got stuck in. 24 miles an hour average speed sounds about right. Yeah. Hi, Makoto. You had a good nap? Yes. Yeah, that sounds about right. This transition trips of highway to roads are difficult. Wrecks happen right here every week. This is amazing they did it by itself. So apparently this one is a pretty bad intersection. Well, I mean, it doesn't get distracted and it can see 360, so that's the wrong route. It took the highway around the perimeter of the geofence zone and then cut into the city. Interesting. This is the route. Just say any time code of the video and I will point to location. Yeah, this is the route. I worked it out too. It was quite easy to track thanks to Google's 3D model. Thanks for the map. Blue is the current geofence. I didn't realize that most of the ride was in the current geofence. Interesting. I mean, it makes sense. If it can already drive itself in and around the factory, and if the geofence is that close to the factory, and hopefully the whole red line was... Oh, that's an airport. Hopefully the whole red line is they're already up. You know what, though? I bet you that where they charge and service themselves is the factory. So that route was probably already pre-authorized by the robotaxis, even if it's not in the geofence for pickup and drop-off. How would they go charge at night? How would they get service? How would they get cleaned? At a facility at the factory. That is pretty darn cool. So we learned something today. Or I did, I should say. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. screen turned off again. You had a good nap? What did you dream about? I saw you running. Yeah, you were running. Which is amazing because you can't even crawl yet. Yeah. Okay, let's continue. Next the map, blue is the current geofence. Nice to know. I live around the middle of that red line. Cool. Why would Gigafactory be outside the geofence area? That's another good question, but it's probably like I said, they might not be able to do pickups and drop-offs in here, but it's very industrial and airports. I doubt there would be any pickups and drop-offs in this area. Looks like someone's getting furniture or an appliance. I heard a large diesel engine idling, and then I saw. You can obviously tell how much room I have to look out the window. So I had to make heads or tails of what I was looking at. But that's cool. Why would Giga be on the outside of the geofence? Unless if they say the same reasons I was thinking. Excuse that there isn't much out there that people want to go to. The zone for safety, but also for useful service, with only 11 vehicles. It won't be long before they extend it, though. But it should naturally be included, as Tesla cars have been driving around gigafactories autonomously already anyway. It's just not part of the service, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have a permit to operate in there. The service is geofence to that area, not necessarily their permit. Why would... I was going to make this map too after following the car through every lane change and junction. I wonder why it got off the highway so early instead of going all the way to loop 1. That's a good question. Probably traffic. Or maybe that's Lamar. Still got off earlier than needed. Maybe due to traffic. Or maybe the demo or test. Yeah, because they put more in town. It'd be more impressive than if it just got on the highway, took one exit, and then was there. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, let's continue. Let's see. Let's go back. What is this? Tesla object ID 54. Company Tesla. Location Austin. Type of service passenger. Description rideshare service. Status in Texas. Testing. Active or non-active? Active. Safety driver? No. Application Austin. Website Texas. Tesla.com. Service area Austin Metro. Okay. Is that not part of the Austin Metro? Why did you pull that? Status should read deployed and not testing. That's a good question. Object ID 54. So they could have actually tracked that car all the way through, and that might have been a test. The delivery. Interesting. It's impressive. Both the white Model Ys at the factory are driverless. All the Tesla Model Ys at the factory are autonomous. All right, let's go back. Where were we? Tesla says congrats. Way cool. All right, so we were on there. Let's go to the 30-minute. Is that where we were? Yeah, it was. All right, then let's go to the photographs. Absolutely amazing. Another first for Tesla autonomous future has truly arrived. Well done. Yes? You want your towel? Always travel with the towel. Blah, 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 blah. Your sister took your toy again? Yeah. Because I don't see it on my desk there. It was there. Yeah, you don't play with it anyway. I know. Hmm. The cat distribution system has chosen you for a Tesla. Oh, that is kind of funny. That the cat distribution system is when you are not a cat owner, and now you are because a cat has chosen you. A car has chosen you. Yes, baby. Oh yeah. Yes, how can I help you? What's up? Oh, the calendar. Yeah, you love that calendar. I wonder what you're gonna do on Tuesday when I turn it to another day. Hey, Robert. Good to see you.
Hello, thank you.
Hi, Robert.
Hi, I just got back. I've been out on the bike.
Oh, good. Congrats. Is it a lovely day there, or is it hot?
Very hot and humid. And yeah, I just got back. I went to the chippy and then to get some milk and stuff. But yeah, I went to a different chippy today and I sat down and oh yes, really good.
Nice.
I just put up the pictures and oh, it's shattered.
Yeah. I hope I'm able to be that active when I get to your age. And that I make it that age. She's enthralled with this.
I just sent you the picture of the fish and chips to your DMs.
Awesome, thank you.
Your DMs, your messenger.
I heard it go bing bing. I'll take a look. As soon as these guys give me some hands back. I got a couple of them to catch up on. Yeah. Yeah. The calendar again? Oh, you're looking at your sister's headphones. Do you want to wear the headphones? You want to talk to Robert and Highlander?
Did you just say something to me, Casey?
Yeah, I was asking Mako if she wanted to talk to you guys. There you go. Say hi. Say hi, Mako. Say hi, Mako. You don't want it? You don't want it? Okay, okay. I was hoping that you'd hear them talk and then you'd want to. You can't eat the headphones. Yeah, that's Highlander. Say hi, Highlander. You eating your finger there? Yeah? You can tell Highlander those fingers are delicious? Say something. Yes, now she just thinks I put earmuffs on her in the middle of the summer. Just another headphones. All right. All right. Let it go. You just want to look at them on the wall. You don't want to wear them. That's fine. You don't have to wear them. Oh, now you want them back. I already put them on the wall. Ning. You want milk? Yes. Maybe mommy will bring you some milk, and I can give it to you. Yeah. Let's give her a minute. See if she's gonna warm it up or something. Okay. Ning now. Okay. Ning now. Not a minute from now. So we did discover, decode what Ning actually means. It doesn't mean milk, obviously. It's a general discomfort with the guts. So if she's got to throw up, it's Ning. She's got a gas, it's Ning. She wants milk, Ning. So you have a fun time decoding it if she doesn't want to elaborate. So she goes Ning, and he's like, "You need to fart? Do you need to burp? Do you want milk? Well, what's up? What are we thinking about? This time though, it's definitely milk. She said milk, and she's so yeah. Well, when you let those two teeth come in, you can start eating some baby cereal. Yeah. Is that Motoko? Did you hear Motoko? Or is that Mommy? It didn't sound like Mommy. Ning, yes. Yes, Ning, they're bringing you some milk. Yes. You don't hear them in there? I hear them. They're bringing you milk. I assure you. Look. Here's Mommy. Oh, Mommy's gonna milk you herself? Have fun, baby. Bye-bye. All right. So, there's Mommy. So, gotta always bring a towel. Travel with a towel. All right, enjoy your lunch, baby. Cat distribution system shows me for Tesla. All right, well, brilliant minds create a brilliant thing, especially when they are provided with the environment to do so. It's the future. Happy birthday, Elon, your new year, baby, blah, blah, blah. Explain to me again why down payments are needed when a car can repossess itself. The down payments are needed to for the bank to know you got some skin in the game. Yes, there's collateral in the car can repo itself. Cool concept. I'll give him a heart for the concept. Yeah, exactly. Yep. All right, so next up we've got it was a movie that was hundreds of self-driving Teslas. Oh, that one! Yes. Leave the World Behind. Other than the way that it happened, I didn't think that the Tesla part was as bad as the previews made it seem. It was a wild and out there sci-fi type movie, and I do hope there's a sequel to answer some of the questions that they had. It looked like they left it on a cliff for that to happen, but I was actually kind of enjoyed having the Teslas in there. I hope nobody thought that was real, like a real possibility at the time, and now it still couldn't happen the way that they showed it. So it'll be interesting to see. I should probably go back and watch it now again, at least that scene, with the knowledge of the current robotaxi and latest versions of FSD in mind. Might be interesting. And you're right, it wasn't necessarily a great movie, but I did like the story they were telling, even though it had a lot of holes and plot points that needed addressing. It was unique. I wouldn't call it a good movie, but it was unique. All right, so what's next in this? Self-delivering car. So Sawyer had put it on YouTube, and Tesla Life. I think we got them already. Yeah, we did. Then Tesla Roddy had something to say about it. All right, so an article format. CEO Musk has confirmed that the vehicle has, for the first time ever, delivered itself to a customer autonomously 1 day ahead of the company's original schedule. I wasn't aware of there being an original schedule for this part of it, unless I had heard it and had just attributed it to more Elon saying stuff. He has been saying stuff for 10 years now. We'll see. Joel says Ford patented the repossession of cars by itself a while ago. I'm sure you remember. I do, actually. We covered it here, and we I think we got into a small discussion on the ethics of it as well as the logistics of it, especially in a case where there was a fault at the bank, like where they didn't record your payment, or any of the number of things we see with the current interlock devices that we see for like a buy here, pay here lot, where they are shutting down people's cars over the weekend when there is no lapse in payment. They weren't close to the deadline. It was just like an accident on the part of or flaw in the system, because there was no accident on the way that they respond to this. If it was a true accident, the way they respond would have been to unlock the people's cars when they report it. So what happens is over the weekends, the cars will lock down as if the person missed a payment or whatever breach of the contract is going on. And then when you call them up and say, hey, the payment was a week ago, it went on auto pay, or I phoned it in and blah, 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 it passed, here's the receipt. Like, all right, well, we're closed. See you on Monday. I paid for the car to use all the time at my leisure, not Monday to Friday. You gotta come up on some of that money. And of course, the contract isn't set up that way. They tell you to go catch a cab or Uber. And it's quite disgusting, because if they can shut your car down over the weekend, then whoever's over there turning it off should be able to turn it back on over the weekend. And if you guys aren't there to turn it back on over the weekend, then you shouldn't be shutting them down over the weekend. Especially, you could kill somebody with this. What if somebody is having a medical emergency and they need to take themselves over to the emergency room, and now the car won't start?
I thought you were on about first, when I first heard you speaking about the ones where that kid was locked in the car and they couldn't unlock the car.
Those are bad as well. So while you were on the bike, Ford had a recall on the door latches for the rear doors, and it's a software update, but you had to bring it into the dealer for some reason. So we were discussing the number of ways that that folks need to be careful while they wait for the software update to be ready in September. For the letter they rolled out this week, that should be arriving in people's mailboxes right about now. That one is.
I remember when someone had to go in before because it was a software to the module, not to the main computer, and then they had to like hotwire the module for that to reset, and the firmware to that as well. So it was something that couldn't be done over the air.
Yeah,
I think if that's what you might be talking about.
This one might be the same situation where it was built by a contractor and it's not integrated into their system fully, so they got to update it with the laptop in hand. That shouldn't be a thing anymore. I mean, Rivian, as Volkswagen has contracted Rivian to make sure their cars aren't that way. Tesla hasn't been that way in a very, very long time. Modules that can't be updated directly. So like on Optimus would be the emergency shutoff switch can't be updated remotely. There might be some drive unit stuff on the cars, like the parts that work no matter what's going on with the system. If it screens out, the car's crashed, software crashed, you can still do some basic functions of the car. Those sometimes can't be touched by Tesla updates, but usually it's just a matter of being in park with the car powered off, and it can do it all. So there should be very few reasons to bring a car in for a software update, unless it's a matter of We did have this a couple times where there was a software update that failed so hard that you had to bring a laptop to the car to get it updated. Obviously, they didn't continue to push that wider and wider to the fleet. They fixed the bug and then reissued it.
Well, I was going to tell you last time, but I was at home because I didn't have the internet to connect you. But I was at the bike shop, and he came in with one of these electric bikes, and the software had crashed, and it corrupted, so it wouldn't let it do it. And the other company says we can't fix it, and the other company had gone bankrupt, so he's got basically a bike that he can basically just ride like an ordinary one. He can't use it,
but it's heavy.
And because yes, and it's a heavy bike now, and he can't really use it. And so I mean, the only way to then would be to strip the entire thing and rebuild it back again. And I told him to take it to the other guy and see if he could fix it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to a computer shop to do bikes,
Nice.
and that's what. That's it. Taking that. So I did that with my bike. I took it into the computer man, and he knows how to work with bikes. So I'm building that other one up, and we're getting there.
Yeah, that's something where the computer manufacturers have learned to do this, is to do backup BIOS. So whenever you do your update, there's a way to, if it doesn't complete successfully, there's a way to put it back the way it was before the update and try again, and then do that one more time. And if it still fails, stop trying. Put it back one more time, and then wait. Say, hey, these failed too many times. What do you want to do? So it's like consumer electronics. Maybe just leave it there till they figure out what's going on. In the case of like business, then give you a chance to put in a support ticket with your vendor. In the case of the bike, it should have that. The cool thing there, if they don't have a way to plug in a laptop and override it, with everybody being out of business there, what I would want to try to do is swap in a board from somebody else, a board and a motor, and see what happens. But yeah, if everything failed and you've just got like a heavy pedal bike, that sucks, and it kind of puts in for the consumer protection insurance warranties. Do you want the protection plan? Normally, I just say no, depending on what it is. Some of them I've gone ahead and bought it just because either I've had trouble with them in the past, or I don't trust the manufacturer will stick around, and so I'll want it from the retailer who I trust would stick around. So I've got a couple of those, but not many. So back to the self-repossessing car. So yeah, the minute that one of these buy here, pay here lots, or whoever's putting these interlocks on and letting them lock the car over the weekend and then not responding when somebody calls to get it turned back on when there was no breach on their end, they will learn legally the consequences of being dicks. Because if it's there to turn off on the weekend, the customer service thing to do is to also have somebody there to fix the mistakes, because it's not like one or two mistakes that happen. They know this is a thing, and it keeps happening month after month, week after week. So if your system is that unreliable, you can't.
Well, this is it. When that baby was locked in the car, the road workers came with a pickaxe and to break the window to get the baby out. I mean, it was cooking in there.
Yeah. So ethically, they cannot continue this. They're doing it now, and they may feel.
Well, it comes under the kidnapping rule then as well, because you kidnapped the child then.
Yeah. Kidnap the child, or if nobody is in peril, you've at least stolen from your customer, because if they didn't miss a payment, you have now removed 72 hours of their use and enjoyment of the vehicle. They're paying you a full pop for that. That's unacceptable. You owe them 72 hours of use of their car and depreciation, and whatever costs they've incurred having to Uber or taxi or put on a friend. I don't know that they are quickly going to be brought to justice with this, because the customer that typically needs a buy here, pay here lot isn't always a like the model customer that they are going for won't be legally informed, won't have the means or resources to hold them to account. However, I hope that there is some pro bono attorney out there willing to set them straight, because that is unacceptable. If you have turned off the car, they didn't miss the payment, they didn't come close to the deadline, their car should not be turning off. And if you know there's a problem, you should not have your system set to allow any of them to turn off over the weekend, even non-payments. However, if you want it to turn off over the weekend, you can have an employee there who can do the unlocks. And so when Mrs. Smith calls up and says, "Hey, my car won't start," and you've had the money for a week now. Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Smith. Something happened. We've fixed it. There's your car back to go. Sorry for the inconvenience. Have a cookie on us, or something. But when Mrs. Smith calls up and gets voicemail, or Mrs. Smith calls up and you tell her tough cookies, should have paid it, and she says, "I did. Oh well, we'll still see you Monday." That is reprehensible.
I just remembered another thing when I saw them on the push bikes, those rental ones. There was a fault with one of those, and it jammed on the brakes, and this woman went flying over, smashed her teeth, and broke her nose because it locked the wheels up on them. Now, it shouldn't do that. I mean, jamming on the brakes like that. I mean,
Yeah.
It gives you enough time to go from these places to that, and then it should beep and then tell you that your time's up. You need to put it away. Not just jam the brakes on.
Right.
As you go flying over the handlebars. Oh, I'll never forget it.
Yeah, there's a
Oh.
bunch of similar types of things where they'll wait for you to park, and as soon as you park, they lock, which is, yeah, you're going to lose however many minutes while the person is overstaying, but you're not hurting anybody that way. That's the correct way to handle that. Turn on a tracker, turn on an overage fee, fine, but don't just slam the brakes. You don't know what's going on. There could be a dump truck behind her, or you can send her head over heels and injure her, which is, you're in the right financially, but you are not in the right ethically, morally, or for the safety of society. Because now, not only have you injured your customer, you may have damaged somebody else's property, and you are fully liable for that. I mean, you can probably push some of it on her for overstaying or whatever, but that was your bike that messed up that person's property. So these
and the bike was damaged as well. So I mean,
and you can't hold that on her because she didn't jam the brakes. You did, so you did that to yourself. So these, you can count beans all you want, but you gotta have some give and take with this. And Joel is saying that they should have a 30x penalty for taking a car in error. So yeah, I agree. Do that for the buy here, pay here interlocks. Do that if you do ever implement the Ford auto recall and your car just drives off. One, make sure there's no kid in it, because if you kidnap, oh boy, Ford, you're gonna pay for that one. And two, if you tell the car to go back to the bank and it was in error, you owe. And 30x, I think, is reasonable. It will be a deterrent for you not to screw it up, and it will also make you think twice before doing it. And then whatever penalties you already have for late payments, they just stick. That's fine. But again, if you did take it in error on a Saturday, you better have an employee working on the Saturday where that command is issued to bring the car back into the bank. Otherwise, you can only do them during your operating business hours, because not just ethically, but logistically, you're going to generate phone calls if your system has flaws. And so I don't know if Ford will have the same problems as these buy here, pay here lots. And I know they said they're not going to do it. They don't have any plans to do it, I should say. They patented it not just so nobody else could do it first, but that's in their quiver. They might choose to do that. They own a bank, Ford Motor Credit, just like GM had GMAC, and GMAC became Ally and others. Drew Biglino says, go back. Drew Biglino, I don't think he's still with Tesla, right? But he said something.
They also said about that other one that they're going to be tracking people's number plates and seeing their speed and other users as well.
Oh, my computer's about to get really wobbly.
So
I just clicked on the wrong browser. It's got hundreds of tabs open. Go ahead.
they were saying that the other one, the Ford ones, or what, they will be tracking people's
Oh, yeah, they
number
did say
plates
that.
and speed and everything.
They did,
Yeah.
yeah. Where the car would be narking on you. And they said, oh, no, this is just for our police cars. Sure. Sure it is. Yep, see the charging the battery on the other side of the wall. Congested. Musk says grid scale battery packs allow greater use of the existing power plants by storing energy during low demand times and releasing when demand is high. Yes. Who are you responding to? Whether you're talking about load like a data center or generation like a nuclear power plant, constant 24/7, 365 is not an accurate description of reality. Very few things actually run continuously at a constant rate. Yes. So are we responding to like a politician here? I bet you we are. And if we are, then I might as well go on to that other story we've got in the notebook. We have 36 gigawatts of constant demand at the system level in Texas. I think it is. We're about to change gears. In reality, it's even more variable because there are transmission limits. We have 50 gigawatts of variable demand at the system level. Variable demand is not some intractable problem. Shipment has arrived. Intractable problem. That's why we have on-demand capacity. People seriously want you to believe in a healthy market, base load capacity would serve all demand below the red line, leaving. Okay, I got to come back to that. Variable generation doesn't break markets. That's correct. It's crazy to think that subsidizing peak air conditioning demand is not a problem, but powering the air conditioner with solar is. Yes. All right, so this is an Elon reposted rant I can get behind. So let's do this. Let's move this into the view that you guys are looking at, so I can close out of the browser, get the resources back from the computer, and
That's what I was going to ask you. I can't see your Facebook today. Are you just on YouTube today?
Facebook may have timed out again. I will have to reconnect it, I guess. Thank you for letting me know, because it didn't give me an error, and has it blocked me from chat? It has blocked me from chat. Those cheeky bastards. So that's one way I can tell if it won't let me type in the chat on my own messages. That Facebook is usually the blocker. Sometimes Twitch, sometimes X, but it's usually Facebook. Sometimes LinkedIn, but rarely. LinkedIn will just not show me. So before we switch over to that wonderful debate about power, Elon was saying about the deliveries that has officially happened and travel as fast as 72 miles an hour, according to Ashok Elaswamy, head of Tesla AI and Autopilot. Must continue that there were no people in the car at all and no remote operators in control at any point. Excuse me. And I guess the cameras were not considered safety catch because they were just making an ad, basically. Knowledge, to the best of our knowledge, is fully autonomous car with no people in it, remotely operating on the public highway for delivery. He said a video will be uploaded soon, which we watched. We watched the time lapse. We didn't watch the 30-minute. We've seen cars autonomously transport themselves from production to logistics at the Gigafactory, Texas, and then Nissan had a thing a while ago that didn't always work. Tesla recently launched its robotaxi for the first time in Austin. It seems to be something Tesla would like to perform more frequently in the coming months, especially locally. Yes. Eventually, it seems that Tesla will plan to have every vehicle manufactured at self-deliver, as a hauler would transport it to local delivery centers, and then the car would drive itself to the customer's house. So that actually solves that question for me right there. I was like, well, what about the ones that go outside of the charging range? Put them on a truck and then deliver them from a central point in each of the metros there. That makes sense. Assuming that they could charge it when I got home. Very likely a few years off, but Tesla has completed one self-delivery, which is an incredible accomplishment. Yes. Yesterday we wrote about 2 big milestones that are still planned for launch before the end of Q2. That was one of them. one to go, the unveiling of affordable models. So yeah, that is also running out of June for the first half of 2025 to have the other models that Elon keeps mentioning on the conference calls. Maybe more monumental than the Robotaxi launch. I think so. No, I think that they're together are both huge. And then, should service ever need, the car will drive itself to and from the service center. I think that would be awesome if whatever's needing service doesn't stop the car from driving safely. Yes, absolutely. Like they wouldn't have had to give me a loaner car if the car could have just drove itself there. And I could take a robotaxi around. I never would have thought a car would drive itself from the factory to the customer's home. No, he wouldn't. It's not a true quote, but yeah, absolutely. That wasn't the technology at the time for him. The coast-to-coast delivery, yes. I'm talking about that. Yes. All right, so let's go back. Forward, copy, paste and go, and then close the extra browser window because I need the resources. Quit. Okay. We should be unchoppy any second now. So this leads into a story that I have at the end of the notebook. I called it simply Texas without coal. So we might just back into it. So whether you're talking about baseload, blah, blah, correct, you can use, typically use can vary throughout the day. Power fluctuations based on when they are idle versus running can be humongous. Sometimes I wish I'd studied more about electricity and physics in school. Grok explained what this means to the average American. Use characters in a comic book. Today's 1 in 6 Americans have trouble paying at least one energy bill. Rising energy costs, healthcare, and taxes on the middle class isn't what they wanted. For the CEO of Texas grid operator, Texas reduced its blackout risk from over 10% to under 1% in just 1 year by adding several smaller states' worth of solar and storage to its grid. Okay, what's wrong with that? We will come back to that. Permitting, interconnection, and transmission are frequently larger impediments to clean energy than taking away the tax credits. The most important thing we can do for our clean energy is to make it easier to build at a federal, state, and local levels. Yes, but the current politicians don't believe in such a thing. The problem isn't ending subsidies. It's about abrupt terminations after major capex is already sunk. Okay, but that's not the power itself. That's these politicians messing with stuff. Cutting electricity, cutting eligibility at an arbitrary in-service cliff is blowing up the project pipelines, imposing extreme, unworkable FEOC rules, and then ignore the supply chain realities. Yeah, that sounds like the politicians again. Slapping an excise tax on our fastest to deploy resources. Yeah. Doing all of this amid spiking demand, tariffs, and rising grid and upgrade costs, and permitting bottlenecks. Yeah. All right, so we got a lot to unpack here just to get back to backing into our story. More on this from here. Brings us to the new bill. It's not about a level playing field. We were just talking about this with Patrick on the stupid EV taxes. It's not about paying our fair share. It's just nonsense. It's a targeted attack designed to actively discourage investment in wind and solar specifically, using punitive sector-specific measures, a new excise tax, and unworkable fiat provisions.
And those taxes will never go down.
They don't.
They will only go up.
They only add new ones. Yeah, exactly. Well, at least to us normal folks, we will never see them go down at a sustained level. The folks who can lobby the politicians can definitely see some cuts as we are seeing them fight for so hard. This brings us to the Senate doesn't merely let credits expire. The fiat material assistance components, subcomponent. Yeah, that's what they should have done. Is not renewed it, not this ending it early crap. Subcomponents are critical minerals extracted, processed, recycled, manufactured, because this jerking people around is terrible for business. We need, yeah. So what? The rules are not permanent. Fine, but if it says through the end of 2030, run it to the end of 2030 and don't bring it back for 2035. It's that simple. It's not like this is like a do or die moment. We will get there if we keep reducing income and increasing expenditures, sure, but the hypocrisy of this is to say we need more money now, and then you cut the income, and then you spend some more while you're on top of it. Those three things don't all go together. It's only one of them can be true. I guess maybe two of them, but not all three of them can be true. But not BBB specific. Notice the fossil IDC and depletion perks stay untouched. Not to mention the continued pass on negative externalities. It's not leveling the field, it's tilting it. This is not us backing into what I was going to talk about with power companies. It's tangential and also directly related to where Patrick and I were talking about the transportation secretary, and in my case, the nominee transportation secretary, because it was that long ago, wanting to levy additional, just pulled out of nether regions numbers to double and triple tax people for having EVs. If the number,
and the solar tax as well.
Yeah, solar tax is another one like that. I don't think we have one, but definitely it sounds like they're trying to do it to the grid operators. But they're not going to retroactively put one on, like, for my house, because they're paid for.
Well, they've been trying it here. I don't know if it's gone through altogether because I don't have the panels, but some people were telling me about it already.
Yeah, you guys.
And then there's the green tax, of course, which pays for all the other stuff.
Yeah, you guys were doing some weird
so
stuff.
So you've got the
with
green
that.
Tax, which
Exactly. Yeah, you guys were doing some weird stuff with that too. I don't know what's gotten around the world that they suddenly want to drill some more instead of continuing to do what was right. I mean, it's literally free energy, and we see that just having energy is what makes society able to advance and grow. And if there's no input cost and minimal maintenance cost, it's good for business. And then when that business is profitable, they generate taxable income, and then you can tax the income, and then society continues to prosper. I don't know what has gotten into these politicians, but let's go back where we were on the power side of it. We were getting into backing into the what I wanted to talk about. Oh, I got some comments to look at real quick. Let's look at the comments. The current government being all for AI and against that makes zero sense, as AI needs renewables. Yes, exactly. We don't have enough for there to be all the AI they want and not have renewables on board. Robert, hi, Kacey and Friends. Good to see you guys. So where were we? Correct, typically vary throughout the day. Back one more. Oh wait, go forward. I want to see what this grok explanation was. Imagine data centers, superheroes powering your apps and your AI. Traditional ones like Superman stay ready at full strength, using lots of energy when idle. Flexible data centers like Iron Man adjust the power use, saving energy when not needed, and boosting it for big tasks like AI training. For the average American, this means lower energy bills and a greener planet, as these data centers use less power and support the grid during peak times. Data centers and peaker plants, something. As these centers use less power, but like a villain's plot, the outdated pricing and contracts can limit savings and reliability. With fixes, these Iron Man-like centers could make energy use smarter and more sustainable. Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, I have a server right here on my rack that does that, where it's off until it needs to do its one job, run backups. It turns on, runs the backups, it turns back off. But it's also super powerful. So if I wanted to, I could send a signal, turn it on, and say, hey, crunch these numbers with your friends. And it's just a smaller version of that. There's another one of these that I wanted to come back through. Latest Senate draft bill would destroy millions of jobs in America and cause immense strategic harm to our country. Utter insane and destructive. It gives handouts to industries of the past while actively damaging industries of the future. I guess. Just think of nuclear power as a vaccine against climate change. There's nothing wrong with nuclear power. Not compared to the alternative of fossil fuels. Solar power, wind power is also nuclear power, but instead of doing it here on site, we're collecting it from Seoul, a couple million miles away. America needs way more power production capacity in the future. We need solar companies releasing statistics on how good wind solar are. Anyway, let's go back. Problems in subsidies, we'll talk about that. Let's see who's responding to here. The new Senate draft raises taxes on all wind and solar projects that haven't begun construction today, unless they are placed in service by the end of 2027 and navigate complex and likely unworkable requirements to prove that they don't use a drop of Chinese materials. After that, this bill adds a new tax on solar projects that can't prove the same. So it sounds like your friends over there, Robert, have found their foothold over here. I know not your friends, but your countrymen. It does so while killing the tax credits that support domestic manufacturing of wind components at the end of 27 and adding the same unworkable requirements to the credits supporting the U.S. solar and critical minerals. So this is part of why people say, oh, we can't work solar here, is every time it starts to function correctly and starts to turn a profit and be workable, we blow it up. And that's why all these American solar companies keep going out of business in the face of the Chinese companies, because the Chinese government isn't constantly actively trying to kill their solar business. And it actually kills the EV tax credit sooner than the House bill. After September 30th of this year, rather than at the end of 20. What? They've been telling us that the 25 was settled and that 26 just don't expect it to come back. As I was saying, not renewing. This is more of what he was talking about for the corporate. This sucks for us consumers. 7,500. If you get it now and you wanted the car and you needed the 7,500 or wanted the 7,500, I'm gonna have to say, do it before the end of quarter 3 because these people are coming for you. Infuriating. Passage in the Finance Committee draft. This will destroy the battery manufacturing boom and take hold across Republican districts, killing hundreds of thousands of good jobs. I don't know. I was like, these are your people. The battery factories are all in red states. And the cherry on top of this is this adds a new production tax for the metallurgical coal. Wait a minute. What? You want more coal and you're taxing coal too? What? The bill kills the industries of the future while subsidizing the industries of the 19th century. It's insane. It's been a minute since I've been perfectly aligned with Elon on a political subject. But this one, yeah, I agree with what he's saying here. Because Trump thinks that windmills make sharks eat batteries and magnets don't work when they get wet. If you ever hear me talking about Don Quixote, that's the Don I'm talking about, because this man is forever against the windmills. Unless I'm actually talking about the real Don Quixote, which is rare. I'm usually talking about Trump's fear of windmills. It's time to end climate cult for good. Was it Sweden or Switzerland? They were talking about the changes in their glaciers. I don't know if Anders is aware of the statements, if it was his people or if it was Switzerland. They were talking about these changes in the glaciers. They are more airy than they had expected because they're melting and they've got these channels and paths. But when the water drops out, often it'll get replaced with air, and the air is making things inside the glacier not match their models, and so things are happening faster than they had actually talked about with the erosion of their glaciers. I used the 7500 Thursday, anticipating the credit would go away before the end of the year. Saw the same September 25 end date just as I got the Juniper Model Y on Thursday afternoon. Wow, that's incredible. I was also at first I was thinking this would happen before the end of the year, but then when the tax changes pushed through and they weren't touching too much, I was like, okay, we're probably safe. I was mistaken. I do apologize if I led you to believe we had more time than this. I did say it was a possibility that they would do stuff like this, but I didn't. I had become complacent, and I apologize for leading you on. Because wow, this is a whole other level. All right, so let's see if we can continue backing into actually what I was going to talk about with the coal plants, without getting too much into the politics. But this being the core topic of the show, self-sustainability, green energy, EVs and tech. I don't know that I can get in. I just can't avoid the political actions, but I can definitely still try and avoid some of the politics of it. Like if they start attacking each other or whatever. Reminds me of the Spanish Empire's collapse in the 17th century. Overconfidence in the New World's gold and silver, reckless borrowing, and military overreach. What a strange analogy, but U.S. national debt is indeed climbing at a horrendous rate, reining the federal government spending. Well, don't cut their income while you do it. If it's such a problem that we need austerity, you got to keep the income going until we've resolved the crisis. You can't continue spending more. You can't increase spending, decrease income, and expect that this problem will solve itself. Solar is good as is gas and new forms of nuclear reactors, but wind turbines are ancient technology ridden with failures and issues. Unless new versions are used with small rotors or rotorless, it's a waste of money and a burden on the environment. I don't think so, Mr. Dreams of Mars. Recycling difficulty. Blades are. You say that, but I've seen them. Like they have projects where they do stuff with the old blades. So that is a form of recycling. Deforestation for installation. No. Wildlife disturbance, birds, bats killed. You haven't seen any of the mitigation technologies, have you? Sometimes it's as simple as painting the edge of one of the blades red. Oh, hey, look, there's something there. I should avoid it. It's red. What else does he say? Noise pollution, infrasound. They are still making studies on that. I can't say one way or the other, except that it seems to be hokey. But I don't want to say these people it's all in their heads because I don't know. But it doesn't seem that it's the way that they are fear mongering it to be. I'm not saying that it's zero impact, even if it is not harmful. The only thing I can say is it's not likely the way that they are. Ooh, boogeyman. Unreliable energy production, weather dependent. Okay, just like solar, slap a daggum battery on it and you'll be fine. High maintenance cost, yeah, it's got moving parts, etc. But the reason they make them bigger and bigger is so you need less and less of them, and you have, yes, it costs more to install them, but there's less maintenance, less logistics. You have one big tower instead of 50 small towers. I get why they would pick that. Visual pollution, the landscape impact. All right, you also done, KSA? They don't. The ones up by my grandmother's house. They look like little dancing ballerinas when they're operating. When they're not moving, it looks a little weird, but they still look fine. You want to know what the landscape impact looks like? Try looking at a coal tail. That is disgusting. Land use conflicts. Every single one I've seen is on a farm or in the middle of like a government parking lot. What land use conflicts are you referring to? Electromagnetic interference, nah. You can put shielding on them if you need to. They probably should if they're that poorly constructed. Ice throw in cold climates. If it's spinning, it's not throwing ice. If it's stopped, it's gonna melt, come down before it starts spinning. But I could see a few random scenarios where you could throw a couple chunks of ice around, just like it falling off the roofs. But again, not unsolvable. Heat the blades, let it melt down, then spin it up. Fire hazards, yeah, if you overspin it, it could catch fire. You do the maintenance wrong, it could catch fire. It's full of oil. Short lifespan of 20 to 25 years. Build for that. And yeah, it's not going to have a 100-year lifespan like a power plant, like a coal-fired power plant, but or a gas or nuclear. But the solar has a similar warranty period of 30 years, 30 to 35 years, but it doesn't just stop working. Again, the panels that Jimmy Carter put in the White House are still functioning on a university today. At last I checked in, they were 70% capacity. Some 50 years later. High initial costs. That's a thing, but if we get the economies of scale going, then that goes away. So that's a stupid argument. Grid integration challenges that you'll have with everything, from the coal plant to the gas plant to the solar. So that's not a solar issue or a wind issue. Material extraction, environmental impact. Okay, you know what has a worse environmental impact than getting a couple magnets out of the ground? When you burn those same magnets in a coal plant and you never get them back because they're in the atmosphere. Most solar panels used in the USA are imported primarily from the Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Malaysia. Yeah, well, maybe if we didn't push the companies out of business, we keep making them here. We had the facilities 8 times over, accounting for nearly 80% of imports in 2023. A good way to look at solar panels is flat screen TVs. They are reverse flat screen TVs on a slower level. They don't flicker and change as much, but it's basically the same technology. If you want to just ultra simplify, ultra dumb it down, they're reverse flat screen TVs. Let's expand this and then check out our comment there. Most solar panels use it. We have a nice build-up in the USA, but they are also expensive still and don't last longer than 30 years. They do last longer than 30 years. They don't get warranted for longer than 35 years. And we have at least 2 competing solar cell solar cell recyclers waiting on some more input. Problem is that when they decommission the farms, they usually just sell them to people like me who can use them at home for cheaper. Just like these servers of mine, they were in data centers for about 5 years, and they were decommissioned. I picked them up for like $200 a pop, and they are wildly powerful. They amazingly use about the same amount of power as my my consumer NAS devices, which is weird. So then when I'm done with them, then they'll probably get recycled. Same with the panels. Awesome, Robert. Yes, exactly. Congratulations again, Robert. Yeah, so no, he's just wrong on the solar panels too. America needs to get away from the way they run elections before anything can be changed. Because right now you have just 2 sides unwilling to even hear the other side's stance. What's wrong with building in America? There's nothing wrong with building in America except that we keep forcing them out of business. Agreed, but the bigger picture is to climate scam once and for all. We should, but everybody wanted to be globalized. Currently, don't have the manufacturing ability. Oh, we have the factories. We have to refill them and retool them, but we have solar factories here. You cannot just create an industry in less than 2 years. Excuse me, high labor costs? No, but we were building them here and they were competitive. They might have been more expensive, but not outstandingly so. There would have been an iPhone competing at the... Yeah, that's true. Because you have to bring the whole supply chain, not just the assembly. If you just bring the assembly, then you still got the whole thing built in China, assembled in California or wherever. $1 billion factories to do it. They're already there. They just need to be retooled. And up and running in 6 months with the trained staff. Okay, I'll give you that. Not to mention, you still need to import materials not available in the U.S. I don't want to say they're not available in the U.S., but they're not available economically in the U.S. because we're not currently, go ahead, highlighter, we're not currently mining for these items and refining them profitably. What you got?
Well, I heard power generation, and I'm literally reading in the paper as we're having the show. Oregon, Ohio, which is right next to Toledo, Ohio, for everybody's reference. We have one natural gas power plant that replaced our coal one. They're building a second one to support a data center that they're also building. So we need another power plant to support the data center. I thought it was fairly on topic since I'm actually reading the article.
Yeah, it's perfectly on topic. They eliminate tax breaks. They can do both. Will this make me pay more or lose rebates when I do Tesla Solar later this year? And Grok advertises itself. The proposed tax bill may increase your Tesla solar costs by ending the 30% federal tax credit, 25D, around January 26th or September, because apparently Grok wasn't paying attention to that part. 180 days after the likely enactment in July, you lose, if you install and pay before then, you could still claim the credit, saving 30% net cost. After cutoff, you'll likely pay more without the credit. Some senators want to keep clean energy incentives, so the outcome is uncertain. Act early as a result of the professional tax. Yeah. That was actually solid. Good wind sucks. Charlie Video turbine, you'll find out. No. I mean, look at all the farmers who had windmills to pump their water for decades. Some of them are still out there.
And you also had the water with the mills doing the flour.
Yeah.
I go past one of those every day.
Hundreds of years.
Yeah. And I was thinking about that other thing I sent you before with the Indian ones where we're making the solar panels. And they said they were ramping up all the stuff, and those ones been sending them over. And then there's these other companies with grants to the government to do some of the solar panels, but some of them are cons, but some of them, they are legitimate, but there's other costs in between that they're not telling you up front. So there's that too as well. But some of the houses are getting the solar panels, but not myself, and I don't get the AC or anything else.
Yeah. Oh, I see it now. Robert Moon. Robert is Lee Moon. Good to see you, Lee Moon. On a different account. Awesome. All right, so Grok says about wind power is efficient, converting 30 to 50% of wind energy into electricity. So it's actually gotten more efficient since the last time I looked at it. I thought they were around 25 to 30%. That is incredible. With a U.S. capacity factor of 37%. So that's kind of where I thought we were just slight improvements. 37% of the deployments, not even of the technology. Cost-effective with tax credits adding to the $20 billion economy in 2022. It's clean, producing no emissions, but faces challenges like wildlife impacts and non-recyclable blades. Yeah, but we've solved some of this already. So when you look at the square states, their wind farms are a little different than up in the Northeast. Plus, we've got offshore. Like, don't forget offshore wind as well. But the square states, they tend to put them on the big farms, and maybe not as much of a ballet look as the handful that dot the Northeast, but still not ugly. Although on a dark enough night, on the ones that are tall enough, and you see like the red anti-collision lights, can look a little ominous if you're a little sleep deprived. It's like, whoa, that's scary looking, like a daggum Terminator movie. But I still didn't think that they were ugly. I just like, oh. And then like some of the whole fields would synchronize themselves at once with their lights. I was like, wow, that's cool. Okay, so let's continue backing in towards our actual story. Who drafted this in addition to the bill? This addition to the bill, and what lobby is funding them? That is a very good question. That all these people crap it on wind. The Ivanpah Power Station in California is shutting down next year. $2 billion blight built on $3,500 pristine acres of Mojave Desert. Oh, they're talking about the thermal solar farm. That one was an interesting way to handle it. Photovoltaics just ran away with being cheaper than the thermal solar. However, at the time when we first put this thing in, it was a toss-up as to what would be more cost-effective. Do we want mirrors and molten salt towers and just big installations, or do we want them on rooftops and in parks, etc., etc.? We see where it went because Moore's law, but at the time it was not a poor decision. It could have gone either way, so I can't fault them. At the time they built the thing. Punishing clean energy with unrealistic rules hurts progress and not helps. Yes. Let's continue backing into where we were trying to go with this. All right, so we're back to Musk's post. We've gone in a circle, haven't we? Now. All right. 36 gigawatts of constant demand. This is what constant demand looks like, by the way, on the graph. In the system level in Texas, in reality, it's even more variable because there are transmission limits. We have 50 gigawatts of variable demand at the system level, and variable demand is not some intractable problem. That's why we have on-demand capacity, from peaker plants to batteries to pumped hydro, etc. Load variability. No, net load variability. Did that post just quote itself? Oh, I see. It was in the thread. Maybe? I don't know. Variable generation does not break markets. It's crazy to think that subsidizing peak air conditioning demand is not a problem, but that powering air conditioners with solar is. Oh, I see what happened. He quoted the thread, and that's why this is there. Energy Twitter. Okay, now I'm tracking. And then on that other post, he had that same one. So let's get back here. If my air conditioner turns on for 10 hours a year, that's fine. But if my air conditioner is powered by solar panels, that fundamentally breaks markets, and we need socialism and mandates to fix it. Corporate socialism. Yeah, it's okay to have 3 refrigerators, etc., but solar is the problem. Nah, not buying what they're selling. Renewable energy critics often lean heavily on the relatively low capacity factor numbers. It's really going to blow minds when the grid nameplates can't. Grid nameplate capacity on solar begins being 2x, then 3x, and 4x the average demand. Yeah, we curtail our solar a lot, even with batteries. This will mean that midday electricity will be constantly free or even negative pricing. Yeah, take this. We have too much. It already is in some high solar regions. A solar plant will happily run for zero cost during these periods because there is no fuel cost. Exactly. It actually costs them nothing extra to run or not. The constant free or even paid to consumer power will open up a new market opportunity or some other economic activity or investment to arbitrage, aka auto bidder on the VPPs and on the mega pack. Imagine when you can add your car to the VPP to supplement your solar. that's coming. Baseload and net, two terms that have no place in electricity. So true. Baseload is just marketing to give inflexible thermal plants a positive image. Yes. People seriously want to believe that solar energy is the same as fuel-generated electricity. In what way? Electricity is electricity, yes. They're not in any way the same. They have one thing in common. They're tied together by electrical grid. One is synced, the other is the host. The grid was around for 100 years before succulents via DC. If I lived in Nevada, I'd hate the sun too. I love the heat. I'm in it a lot. If the fossil fuels were easily available everywhere, cheap, emission-free, and clean, then we wouldn't have to worry about finding alternatives. That's not the case. It seems there's a misunderstanding about how baseload and variable load interact in our energy systems. Balancing these components is crucial to functional system. I see what the other guy was saying about the baseload. If you have enough solar, we're going to talk about this when we get to the actual article. If you have enough solar, wind, etc., then you can shut off the base load. It doesn't need to just be running if it's not needed. Now, you don't want to be cycling it if it's a just huge plant that's not built to be cycled. That's what peaker plants are for. But again, we'll get to the article soon enough. Battery-supported storage, agreed. Real socialism is giving away lots of subsidies and tax breaks to generation technologies, which come for free from Mother Nature, and then again, supposedly have the lowest generation costs. Why did you turn off my screen? Oh, the screen is on, but it's not there. And now it's turning off. Hang on, let me turn it back on before it kills the camera. I turned it off. Let me turn it back on before it kills the camera. I might be too late. Oh, the camera blinked. And now the iPad is backwards. Okay, there we go. I've seen it turn the screen off on a whim before, but I've never really seen it turn the screen off. Well, one other time I've seen it turn the screen off while it was in active use. I was actually playing a YouTube video and it shut it down. I was like, that's use. Almost no AC unit turns for 10 hours a year. He was giving an example. I'm not anti-nuclear to state the facts about nuclear power plants. You clearly haven't read my other posts on nuclear. They do not run 100% of the time. They need scheduled downtime for maintenance and refueling. Yes, this isn't an intractable problem. It's just a fact. Agreed. The solution to nuclear waste is that it's not waste. Yes. Look at France. They reprocess their waste into more fuel. Sometimes different types of fuel for other types of nuclear plants. Current reactors extract only a few % of energy in the fuel contains. Nuclear waste is radioactive because there's still a ton of potential energy left over. Fast neutron reactors and waste-free processing can let us extract that energy and put it to work. Fear-mongering about nuclear waste is no different than fear-mongering about battery waste or solar waste. Look at the big scary number, completely devoid of context, not intended to promote genuine discussion. It's propaganda, misses the point entirely. It's not waste. Oklo has completed the first successful end-to-end demonstration of advanced recycling process in collaboration with Argonne and the INL. So this is talking about recycling here in the States. I don't know if it was Jimmy Carter or somebody around that era who made it so that we can't do this stuff. But they did roll back that regulation, that law, so we can reprocess, but we don't have the technology because, unlike France, we weren't doing it. So we have no, aside from this, we have no real commercializable experience with it. We didn't stop reprocessing waste because it was too expensive. We banned reprocessing over the proliferation concerns. And that's why it wasn't a completely bad idea, but it should have been done better. FNRs can use spent fuel much more efficiently. We need both the reprocessing capacity and new reactors to effectively utilize spent fuel and reduce the radioactivity of waste streams. I think there are legitimate concerns and around proliferation, but not in the context of a tightly regulated industry in the U.S. Yeah. In today's climate, the reprocessing here isn't a huge concern from us, by us, for us. But look at some of the activities we're going through right now, and certain people having nuclear capability is still a legitimate concern. So the rest of this, they also have unscheduled downtimes. Yes, they do. When there's too much water or not enough water, France regularly shuts down its NPPs during the summer heat waves. Battery packs were never required to maintain an electrical power system and grid power the USA and its population for 200 million people and many other nations. Yes, but times have changed. We're not using electricity the way we were 100 years ago. We do have the data centers. We do have EVs. We do have air conditioners. We do stay up late into the evening, not just reading, but also putting heavy use onto the power. So the days are hotter with our air conditioning. So we use more of it. Our houses are bigger than ever. You can't expect that because we didn't need it before, that it's not useful today. A new system that requires battery packs is an inferior system by definition, he says. That is faulty logic right there. Think through what you just said. Our current system is wildly underutilized. Technologies improve, utilization by definition is not inferior. Incorrect. Our past and hopefully current system. I've had so many power outages this month alone. You can't tell me this is superior than anything. Although they've got smart meters now, and the way they handle the outages is way better than they used to handle it with the dumb meters. It's really quiet in my ear. Let me make sure this thing is still working. Okay, good. Oh, Robert, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking about the other thing. What they were doing, the government here, they were fining the companies for the stuff they'd made, because when they say in the back of it, the power that it consumes, it uses, and it was totally incorrect, and they've actually started suing some of those companies for it, and they give out plug boards, loaning them to people to test their actual appliances, so you can buy them yourself, but you plug it in, and it'll show that lamp is using 40 watts where it should use 11. That Samsung TV, it says it should be using 300 watts. It's using more like 600.
Wow.
And that's just those two, but many others have come under the flak as well, and they're under big things for it, and there might be some fines coming their way.
Yeah.
I own one of those, Robert. I got it from Harbor Freight. It was less than $20, but yeah, that's exactly what it. You plug it in between the wall and the appliance, and it'll tell you its power usage. And what that electric dryer you buy and what they advertise. Yeah, you might want to double check it.
Yeah, if there's
taking over 2,000 watts where it should be 1,500 or even 3,000 watts, and now the government are stepping in and saying, right, we're going to start fining these companies for that. So if you've got that product, you can prove you bought it, and you're being paid that more. Just like the fuel thing with when they were claiming they were using that other one, and they got that there. So they're actually putting those links out. Now you can put this claim with the government, and you can start getting the money back from the company that have sold you this item that should be using that. So you'll get a check for like 1,500 quid, or some people even more.
Yeah, that's
on those products.
Yep. That's good. That's a good development right there, because they need, if they say it's 200 watts, it needs to be within 150 to 205 watts. It can't be 600. That's abusing the consumer. Most
Yep,
people
you
don't
can
have a way
buy
to check
that
it.
at Harbor Freight. It's in the electrical. Sorry to interrupt. The
Yeah.
electrical automotive section. You
Harbor
just
Freight.
plug it into the outlet and then plug to your device, air conditioner, whatever you want. TV, like you said, a flat screen, and it'll show you. The only problem you'll ever have is with the refrigerator or air conditioner because the motors cycle on and off.
Yeah, but do want to make sure that whatever meter you use, make sure that your device is not
Rated
over
yes.
that. Yeah, you don't want to melt your
Yep,
your meter.
absolutely. Yep.
Then why are grid scale batteries so essential to the future of our power generations? Because we're going to use them more efficiently, obviously. Spot on DC workloads for typical cloud probably vary 20 to 30% on average. There's another 20 to 30% variance to the psychometric conditions and cooling, meaning easily 40% variance for cloud workloads, which are very smooth compared to AI. Yes, that's absolutely true. Let's go back. I went back too far, apparently. Okay, so that was the end of that one. And so, like I said, we will back into our discussion that I had pulled up here. It's not even the last thing in the notebook. Well, the last thing in the notebook is a recall. So it is the last thing in the notebook, but I skipped some stuff to get to it because I was not intending to be here on this. I didn't realize there's a vibrant discussion online already. It's peak demand time right now in Texas. 1,000 megawatts of gas and coal plants have gone offline today. More than 10,000 more than 10,000 total. Plenty of power because solar is cranking greater than 23,000 megawatts, so 23 gigawatts on peak. Your policy is one of energy subtraction that will hurt grid stability and raise costs. So he's responding to this Secretary Chris Wright. So what we see here is ERCOT generation. This is thermal. Thermal meaning coal, methane, natural gas, gasoline, oil, everything, all the thermal. And if that thermal solar plant were in Texas, it might count as thermal as well. You can see what they're doing. It went up a little bit, and it's come down substantially for 629. It peaks up a little bit in 628, but the solar and everything just was so powerful that they just went ahead and shut thermal down a little bit from 9, 10, 12,000. Sorry, 12 is up here. So about 9 or 10 megawatt, so 9 or 10 gigawatts down back to the straight on at 9 because they were able to supply. Then over here we see the fuel mix. Solar was 30.9%. Wind was 15.3%. Hydro was 0.2. I don't seem to. Texas is kind of, I don't think of it as a place with a lot of waterfalls, but they got hydro right there. Power storage. So this is from the battery, 88. Just pull it straight from the battery, 88 megawatts, 0.1%. Other, 50 megawatts, so biomass, somebody on a treadmill, whatever. Natural gas, methane, 26.526. And so that was 34% right there. Coal and lignite, 12.5%. Nuclear. Okay, that would be thermal as well. Okay, so nuclear was 6.5% at right about 5 gigawatts. And this morning, so 2 hours ago, so that was when did I get that other one? I got that one on the 28th, so yesterday and today. And this morning, the sun came up. We hit 4,500 megawatts, so 4.5 gigawatts of battery charging. A reliable, affordable, clean grid with domestic manufacturing and solar and batteries and oil and gas production is all right there for us. But politicians in Congress are determined to kill it. Let's look at that picture. See, when it went negative is because we charged the giant batteries that are coming out of Tesla and competitors. We charged the grid batteries. Flatten the duck curve, right? The problem with solar equipment is eventual maintenance and replacement of certain parts. Okay, so what? You think that the thermal plants don't need oil and downtime and maintenance? Get out of here. The battery tech is still way behind where it needs to be. Okay, just put more of them there. The solar farms are going to be massive junkyards at some point, just like the windmills. Clean energy has a long way to go. Like I just said, they aren't getting more land, but they are getting more efficient panels. So they went from 250 watt panels, 200 watt panels, but they had maxed out their area for panels, right? So what do? They uninstall the 200s and 250s, list them on a secondhand site, install their 500s, their 450s, and all of a sudden that same plot of land is now has double the output. That same roof, etc. And they didn't even have to do any maintenance to it other than clean it. If they have one that's not passive, like it actively tracks, they have to do the gear maintenance, etc. Stack roots of the system can do the same while taking up just space for the controls with power connects and deliver 20 kilowatts scalable with no more real estate needed. Truly green model works. The test site is ready to build full scale. So that sounds like small nuclear, which is fine. Solar wind is about to be all but extinct. No, it's not. You need all of these things together. You mean like 100+ acre solar farm by me that is decommissioned after only opening for 3.5 years. Now it's just a giant hunk of unusable land that's very expensive to clear. As someone who's working solar, I am vehemently against it on the commercial utility level. Okay. Because you sell it for residential? I mean, I don't have any problem putting it on existing roofs. That makes more sense to me. But agrovoltaics is a thing as well. So like I said, strawberries, goats, sheep. There are plenty of farmed crops that appreciate the shade. Where's the majority of lithium processed? All these people complaining about the resources of solar, etc., seem to conveniently forget that we just burn up any of our petroleum products and fossil hydrogen, fossil coal, etc. In fact, coal is truly fossil. It's not getting more. The reason it exists, we don't have a lack of organisms able to process cellulose anymore. So it's not a matter of like with oil where it just takes so much time and pressure to get more oil. We cannot get more coal. Not without like a major biological disaster killing all the organisms that do decomposition. The reason the coal exists is we didn't have organisms that could decompose the cellulose, or at least not the woody tree type stuff, but I think it was all cellulose, if I'm not mistaken. So we have that now. How long before the batteries last? How long do batteries last? Wait, so all this was still no progress. Okay, come back. And can you explain what's happening in more details? Grok says on June 28th, yesterday, Texas grid faced over 10 gigawatts of gas and coal outages during peak summer demand. Wait, so it wasn't a shutdown for use, it was a shutdown because it broke again? So the same thing we've been saying for years now, that Texas can't handle the heat or the cold. And their gas and methane plants are terrible. It was a failure. Sounds like we get to beat that drum one more time. Solar production of 23.8 gigawatts, 30.9% of the 77 gigawatt total demand was key to maintaining stability, with ERCOT reporting normal conditions. Solar's role is growing, with Texas adding 9.6 gigawatts of solar and storage since 2024, reducing the blackout risks. However, debates persist. Some push for expanding all energy sources, including gas and nuclear, for reliability, while others emphasize renewables cost and reliability benefits. A balanced mix with storage and grid upgrades is likely needed for future demand. Yes, you may need more gas peaker plants. So what? You don't need any more coal plants. There's no such thing as clean coal. And yes, it would make more sense to me to just add more solar, wind, nuke, and batteries. But I'm not, if you're not, sticking it to those other techs just to put in a gas plant, then I have nothing against the gas plant. Hopefully, you're not wasting money on the gas plant, because if you can do the others quicker, more responsively, and you pop a battery in there, you might find you didn't need the gas plant. But as long as you're not blocking the others to protect somebody's interests. Come on now. Let's see how this went. Grok tells the story of people who died in Texas when wind turbines froze. In February, which storm Uri hit Texas. Let's see if it tells the truth about why there was a freezing. Out of 246 deaths, possibly up to 702 from hypothermia, carbon monoxide poisoning, and medical emergencies. While some blame the frozen wind turbines, data shows that the natural gas failures were the primary cause, with over 5 times the power loss of the wind. Wind turbines contributing 23% of Texas's power. Oh wow, they still were working. They weren't all frozen over. Okay. 23% of Texas power did fail due to inadequate winterization. But the crisis stemmed from the broader grid issues, including Texas's isolated ERCOT grid and the lack of winterization across all energy sources. Misinformation exaggerated wind's role, but systemic failures were the core issue. Yeah, the politicians tried to blame it on the wind turbines. But the thing to look at is the wind doesn't have any problem working in the cold. Look at the Arctic states. You've got Norway was running some. Norway and Alaska were both running some wind turbines, and they didn't have a problem. Northern Canada had some wind turbines going. They didn't have a problem. It's just a matter of making sure you spec one rated for that temperature, and then you do whatever the manufacturer says to do to be ready for the winter. You got to put the oil in, you got to change the oil, whatever it says. You do that, and then it should continue to run just because it got a little bit cold. Other problem, as Grok pointed out, your natural gas plants were freezing. The fuel was freezing. The water in the fuel was freezing. There was a plant down for maintenance, and that didn't help. It was a cascading catastrophe, but it wasn't because the windmills froze. Coal, oil, and
They've got that, and they've got hydrophobic coating on it. I was watching the other video. I did send you that in the past.
Yeah.
There's on those there. There's a hydrophobic coating that, so hopefully the stuff slides off, and they reapply it every so often because it does degrade over time with the sun and everything else. I was also thinking about that video I sent you with the hydrogen plant, the power plant that I sent you.
Yeah, I don't have anything against hydrogen where it's used adequately, and a hydrogen power plant is probably pretty responsible. Now, fossil hydrogen is a problem in that we can't replace it, but hydrogen coming from like that island in the UK that their grid connection is not big enough, and they won't be able to get it big enough in any reasonable amount of time. What they do with their excess solar and wind, they bottle it as hydrogen. Like literally, they run what they need to run. They run their batteries. When the batteries are full, what do? They electrolyze water, and then they put it. They compress it, put it in tanks, and they put the tanks across the body of water, and then they've got hydrogen to burn in power plants. It doesn't make sense to burn it in cars, trucks. I keep saying that, but you can use it to make heat, to forge metals, to melt metals. You can use it to run your power plants. That makes sense. And there's nothing saying that you can't use the fossil hydrogen. It's fossil, meaning that it was in the ground. You take it out of the ground, and it was in the ground for a long time. So it's not gonna just replenish itself, not on any human scale. And that, so the only problem with fossil hydrogen there is if your extraction does damage to everything, or if it's not a big enough reserve for what you're trying to use it for, that you then have wasted the resources to process the hydrogen. But from all the big bold headlines, they were saying something like 70 years. So if you can balance it correctly, 70 years, fine. If it was 700 years, then that's even better. But you can't trust those headlines. You're wrong. Talk to Elon. Yeah, I'd say talk to Elon on that. Coal and natural gas are relics. Solar and batteries are, but exactly this. Texas isn't being saved by fossil fuels. It's being powered through the heat by solar at peak demand. Yeah, same as we saw that in the winter. But the reason more people didn't die was because we had solar and wind available. Trying to subtract renewables from the equation isn't just bad policy, it's sabotage. We need to scale what's working and not cling to what's failing. Yeah, I mean, what everyone is saying is just add. Very few people are saying take away. I mean, there are people saying it, but there are very few people are saying take away what's already there. You'll do it on your own when the numbers make sense. I keep saying this time and again, on the personal level and on the corporate level and on the governmental level, doing the right thing with renewables and environmental stewardship, etc., will bring the profits, will bring the money, will save money. So it's easy to make that decision. You don't need to be forced into it. You don't need to kick back and fight and scream for the old thing because you're just hurting yourself because you like the smell of gasoline or the roar of an engine or whatever the excuses are for why we can't try something new because you're invested in an old thing. Senate is busy ending the future. Big oil is paying off. Yeah, that's what it looks like. If the infrastructure is set up correctly, integrating solar and coal and gas for efficiency involves leveraging the strength of each energy source to create a reliable, cost-effective, and lower-emission power system. Yes, balance. The goal is to balance solar is clean but intermittent output, coal steady but high emission base load, and gas is flexible, quick response capabilities. There's definitely a use for each, yes. The other thing to look at here with these, look at all of the gas and coal plants that have installed their own solar fields. Because if you didn't know, nearly every power plant out there is not powered, not self-powered. They get their power from the grid. They are powered by other power plants, especially nuclear. We saw that happen multiple times with various nuclear crises, and also with all the activity of Russia in Ukraine right now. A couple times the Chernobyl plant had to contend with not having enough power to keep the safety equipment running because Russia was cutting off the power. Part of what caused that problem in the first place, they caused that meltdown, were that their backup generators weren't online and they weren't receiving enough power from the grid, et cetera, and then disaster struck. Coal plants, gas plants, they use electricity too. I don't know about solar though. Solar and battery, I think they might self-sustain, but I wouldn't be surprised at all to see them be consumers as well. But most power plants out there consume power. They make more power than they consume, but they consume power. So
I wish you'd seen that video from the BBC that I sent you, that showing you the man with the grid with all the showing the power stations and all the other stuff. He's got it all on his computer, and he controlled all these things, and he's looking at the loads and everything. It was on that program. I wish it was on the BBC. I wish you could see that again.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder if that's one I haven't seen yet, or if that was one of the ones that was blocked for my region. I'll take a look. I'll take a look again. But the point of them being consumers is look at, because they are consumers, look at the handful of plants around the country that have already installed a corporate level solar farm on site, so they don't need to rely on another plant to power them, so they can do their operations. Especially if you look at like a black start situation, which we shouldn't be dealing with, but we have had to deal with. Texas, Northeast, U.S., Canada, we've had black starts. They're bad. They're very bad. But if you've got your own power plant, at your power plant, you just flip a switch for your solar. It makes your restart a lot easier. It also lost the thread right there, but having your own solar on site solves a lot of that. And then you look at the coal museum was it in Kentucky or Tennessee? When they shut down, that was what it was. It also reduces your need and load and everything on your supplemental generators, the stuff you use to run the plants. If you can just run on your batteries or run on your solar, you don't need to then crank a old Cat Cummins whatever diesel engine. You still have to do the maintenance as long as it's there, but you can get rid of some of them if you've got reliable generation at your plant. But the irony is the coal museum installing a massive solar panel farm on their facility so that they could take advantage of the free clean power. So that was something I plan to discuss later in the show, and at a much smaller feature than this. But that was so. Now let's go back onto, we finished the self-delivering car. We talked about self-driving taxis. We talked about recalls. What is, these might also be self-delivering cars. Let's take a look. Paste and go. Yeah, it is. Then the last thing I pulled out in the notebook was this one. The R2 pilot plant is doing quite well. Welcome to the R2 pilot line. This is where our manufacturing team engineers are working together to fine-tune the manufacturing process of R2 to ensure efficiency when we start building at scale. Dive deeper into the process at rivian.co. Sorry, not Rivian. rivn.co/R2 testing, R2-testing. Let's hope this doesn't have music on it. Let's see.
To our body.
It's got music and talk. So let's turn on the closed captioning, turn off the audio, and let's take a look at the Rivian R2 pilot plant. Home of Rivian's validation, build, and pilot line. Let's go take a look at what we have. Big music continues. We're going to head over to the birdcage here, where we have this first part of the R2 coming together. This is our subframes. This is our front rear suspension. We build those, put them in the battery, and then move down and marry them into our body in white. Pause. That battery arrangement is not what they were running before. Cool. Marry them into our body in white. Everything we're doing in this facility is to get us ready to build at scale. Do you want me to just get into it? This facility allows us to assembly process to try. Is that 4690s? 4600s? Look at the size of those batteries. They're taller than 4680s. Interesting. Find issues in the plant. Try and optimize that process. My Ford 2 is right across the street from my Ford, where all the engineers sit. They're walking across. I'm thinking this is machine translated, not they actually gave me a caption track. They're able to walk across the street here and just understand how the build's going together. So in this line, we're checking to make sure the assembly fixtures are good, things go physically together, we don't have issues assembling them, and also recording the time it takes, trying to optimize how we're building all these components together into assembly. And see, that Kaizen, that continuous improvement, the same sort of not waiting to make improvements that we see at Tesla and to a smaller extent Toyota, Rivian has got that. And this is why Volkswagen turned over all their EV stuff to Rivian. The music continues. Something new about our R2 is it's a lot simpler of a concept to produce for something more of a mass market. Suspension can be just a sub-assembly. It's a lot easier to manufacture. That helps us a lot in terms of how we assemble things around it to grow in scale. We want to make sure the assembly process is simple enough. Like you can take close parts and just snap them together to make them work. The level of part conservation has definitely helped us to simplify the process. So we've seen stuff that Monroe keeps talking about, like one assembly does multiple things, like the motor housing is also the radiator for the inverter, etc. And so they're on a good track. He said a bunch of stuff that my pausing it messed up. So let's see if we can't catch the caption. Nope. The computer just didn't want to try to see what he said to say. Did the captions turn off? No. There's the R2 prototype, or not prototype, but production intent. Pilot line. Look at that. Love to see it. Congrats to Rivian on that. Love seeing the R2 details come out. Can't wait to get behind the wheel. Less than a year. Exciting. Maxport. Yeah, but we knew this. Every 2026 Rivian and on will have the Maxport. So this one's got it. Ordering. Let me know when you come Rivian Canada test drive one. Excuse me. Greetings, Timothy. Great to see you. Like I said, I've got to catch up on your comments. I've seen them. But Miss Wiggles over there and a couple of others have made it so I just didn't end up back in the studio to respond to them. But I see them, and I will read them, and I will respond to them. I appreciate you being a member. I appreciate you coming here week after week, even when I'm not at my best. But I think that today was a good discussion, and I enjoyed it. I hope you guys did. Sorry to get into the politics of it all. I tend to try to avoid them, but they came after us. They were right in our wheelhouse of the the self-sustainability, the green energy, just making stuff at home for cheap or free, or at least just reducing your load on the grid, your impact from like I said, we're in the middle of a heat wave, and my power bill is $125 with all the computers and with the air running at a weird level, just because the construction of this building and the way the sun falls on it were not conducive to keeping the where they pay me in the summertime for this electric SUV up front. And so when they try to make it so that we can't do that, that is an attack on us. Because if we can't hook up your own solar panels, you can't disconnect from the grid, you can't buy and use an electric car, that's an attack on what we are advocating here. So we do have to push back when they come after us for no reason. Like literally adding 250 to whatever your state, so is it 250 or 450? Adding whatever it was to your state's already crazy fee is not the way to go, unless for some reason they can say, hey, your Prius was doing $50 of gas tax, and now we're going to charge you $80 of EV tax because it really should have been 50 with the Prius, should have been 80 with the Prius to begin with. And then here's the surplus fee that we're going to charge to the Prius now. That would be all the crap they're saying about fairness, et cetera, et cetera. But
And the same could be said with the insurance companies. We
Yes.
won't even get started on that. It's a beautiful day. Let's just, I'm near the water. I just got lunch from Kroger's.
Yes.
Early dinner.
Absolutely. Yeah, I guess we'll have to talk about insurance soon because they are getting some shakeups at their request. They're getting some shakeups leveled at them for not bending the knee correctly. Stuff's about to change there too, whether we want it to or not. And we will not run out of things to talk about. Unfortunately, I would like it to be just boring, oh, same old, but it can't. Unfortunately, it's not allowing us to do that. So we'll discuss.
Talking about insurance, I was speaking to a few youngsters, and they said they just can't afford the insurance to get into the cars. They could buy the car, but they couldn't afford the insurance, even if they went on with their parents.
Oh wow!
So they're basically kept away. So now more and more youngsters are not getting into vehicles, and that's causing a lot of problems.
Yeah. So hopefully, in the case of this robotaxi situation, where it's able to expand quickly enough, and their insurance isn't ridiculous, then as we were saying with Joel and the others, I think that will reduce the needs for the second cars, third cars, eventually even the primary car, and it's not to say that we won't have people driving cars or won't have private car ownership. We still have people with horses, and not just the Amish. But it's more of a luxury for those people who have the horses that don't have them for like a religious reason. We're at a nexus of more change than we've ever seen before. I talked last week about my friend's dad, who granddad, I think it was his dad, who saw the proliferation of the car, the implementation of electricity nationwide, the introduction to the computer, the airplane, to the freaking third launch of the space shuttle before he passed. If he thought things were going fast and accelerating, we haven't seen anything yet. We did have these little pauses and dips, and we are stuck on these little stupid arguments that we don't need to be having. But they're just distractions from what's coming. And people may say, oh, 10 years off, whatever, but we think linearly, and nothing happens linearly in these sorts of things. They're all on the S curve, on the exponential. And we don't know what's about to hit us. It's hopefully mostly good. Hopefully it's mostly good. But the best we can do is keep ourselves informed and try to open the eyes of those who don't want to pay attention. And hopefully we can do it at a minimal impact. We'll see. Yeah, like right now, this whole show, I was on the solar just for this one room. By the solar, I mean my backup solar that we use in case of a power outage. Whenever that battery gets full, I'm like, well, why waste the sun? And I flip a part of the house over. And so this time it was the office. The solar on the roof, there's no battery, so when it's having a good day, it's going into the grid, and that's also nice. So with that, I want to thank all of our channel members for your continued patronage. I want to thank all of you guys for taking the time to watch with us today. I want to thank everyone again, and catch you on the flip side. So I'm going to end the video streams, and then shortly after we will also end the audio X space. But first, catch you on the flip side.